It seems like everything in NASCAR needs addressing nowadays. The car, the points format, the race format, the business side of the sport. All of these topics about the sport have been beaten to death, especially recently, so I'm staying away from that. I want to discuss something different, something I don't see too many people talking about, at least on YouTube. I want to discuss the people in the NASCAR industry, the folks that get the scoop, the folks that appear on our TV screens, maybe on one of those NASCAR talk shows, or maybe they have a YouTube channel of their own. Folks that have the privilege to be in a NASCAR garage area just about every week. These individuals have strong ties within the garage area. Some of these people have been part of NASCAR for many years, actually having a role within the sport at one point, whether it was being a race car driver, a crew chief, and etc. Some of them never participated in the sport, but they were able to find themselves covering the sport of NASCAR. And every single one of them loves NASCAR, I would like to think, and wants to see it be successful. We all want that. But some of these people love the sport a little too much, to a point where they'll go to extreme lengths to defend the sport of NASCAR, and they end up sounding absolutely delusional. There's quite a bit you can say about NASCAR fans that leans towards the negative side. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. But I don't think the fans should get treated like we're a bunch of dummies just watching cars go around the racetrack every Sunday. This is how some people in the industry sees NASCAR fans though, which is unfortunate. There's a lot of very smart race fans out there that understand so much that goes on in the sport. Fans can also see through the bullshit, and my problem with these people is that they try to gaslight the fans into thinking that everything NASCAR does for the sport is great. They sit here acting like everything is rainbows and sunshine when that's not the reality. To put it bluntly, they're some of the biggest kiss asses in the sport. I feel like there's a big disconnect between us and these people in the industry. I will appreciate these people a lot more if they were authentic instead of coming off as NASCAR bootlickers. These people have pretty much sold their souls to become NASCAR's biggest defenders out there, which is very unnecessary of them because there's people in similar roles as them and they don't come off that way. Even if they do get paid by NASCAR, which I'm pretty positive most of them do, it's not a good excuse to come off as a NASCAR shield. I'm just sick of seeing passionate NASCAR fans that know their stuff and that can see through the bullshit, having to listen to these people that work in the sport give off this illusion that everything about NASCAR is great. You shouldn't be critiquing it. If so, you're a complainer. You're a troll, a keyboard warrior. You're a fucking robot apparently. It's just a bunch of nonsensical responses from these folks. They're NASCAR yes men. Excuse those who genuinely care about the sport. We actually care about the integrity of the sport, but on the other side, they can care less and want you to embrace whatever NASCAR is throwing at us. How dare we care about how our champions are crowned and wanting the sport not to be a clown show? These people will take fan criticism and make it seem like it's hatred, and that's not the case. I feel like nowadays there's so many people in the industry that come off that way compared to back in the day when you had guys who would keep it real with you like Dave Despain, Wally Donlenbach, Robin Miller, even though he covered mostly IndyCar, but you get what I'm trying to say. I don't want a bunch of people on my TV screen or on social media glorifying NASCAR like it can do no wrong. And then when you try to point out to them that things aren't what they trying to make it out to be, they try to tell you to quit watching, you're a negative Nancy and blah blah blah. Those people I just mentioned, the Dave Despains, Wally Donlenbachs, the Robin Millers, they didn't hate the sport they were covering, it was just tough love from them. That's all it was, and I don't think that needs to be confused with quote unquote hating the sport. The thumbnail to this video shows you exactly those who are the biggest NASCAR shields out there, at least in recent years. After wanting to rip my hair out seeing these people act straight up delusional over the years, especially after the 2024 season concluded, I had to make a video about this because it's been very irritating to watch. I want to start off talking about NASCAR's hype man, Mamba Smith. You know, he actually does have a little bit of a racing background, which a lot of people don't know about, but now he's all over the place whenever you turn on a NASCAR TV show or open up the NASCAR social channels. He seemed like a cool guy. Okay, so he likes the NASCAR playoff system that's been in place for the past decade. Or does he genuinely feel that way? I don't know. But if he does, that's fine. But whenever someone argues with him about how shitty the championship system is, which by the way is a good portion of the fan base, he tries to proclaim that it's helping the growth of NASCAR? What growth? Is this just a claim that he's pulling out of his ass? That's exactly what it seems. Now, he did proceed to say he could be wrong and wanted to see metrics showing that NASCAR's popularity ain't what he thinks is at because whatever metrics he's looking at are not accurate. Anybody could look up information about anything. The information is out there and can easily be accessed. This guy on Twitter named Alexander replied to Mamba and ended up providing so much data about NASCAR's viewership over the past 2 decades. Just look at this thread, and then he even made graphs just showing the facts. I understand Mamba is supposed to be this happy-go-lucky NASCAR guy in the industry that's supposed to spread positivity, and that's cool, but just do a little research before you make claims like that. Everyone in the comments got on his ass because what he was saying simply wasn't true. The truth is that the playoffs for NASCAR has been a failure. If it was successful, the numbers will spike up for the last 10 races of the year, but instead the ratings actually drop when NASCAR's postseason gets here, and that's embarrassing as a sport because NASCAR is the only sport where nobody cares about the playoffs just by looking at the numbers. Grandstands should be sold out, ratings should be up. That's never happened after the first year of NASCAR having the playoffs in place. Even during NASCAR's prime, it wasn't doing what it was intended to do. In that same tweet, he claimed that Tyler Reddick would cruise to the title and would lock up the title with 3 races to go. Mind you, there was 10 races to go when he said this, and 128 points isn't much, especially under the Laffer system. And it's kind of funny because after he made this tweet, Tyler Reddick didn't hold the points lead that much longer. And well, here's how everything shaked out at the end. There's people that come at him sideways, and when people do that, you got free reign to reply back in a snarky way because, well, they're coming off as assholes, so go right ahead. But replying that way to people that's just, I don't know, trying to have you understand where we're coming from ain't cool. I remember I sent him a link to Slapshoe's The Dam of Legitimacy video, and his reply was this: I need context to why and what it is, and I may humor you on it. What you got, big guy? The fuck is that supposed to mean? I may humor you on it. First of all, the context is your tweet. Everyone is having this discussion in the comments to your tweet, and the discussion is questioning the legitimacy of the championship. So I felt like that was the perfect video to send and hope he would sit down, watch it, and maybe come away with a better understanding of where everyone is coming from. Why not just, I don't know, click on the video to find out what I'm trying to show you, or read a description of Slapshoe's video before proceeding to watch? His reply just kind of came off snarky when it really didn't need to be. Mamba isn't the only one in the industry that's a NASCAR homer. The playoffs was the talk of the town after Joey Logano won the championship after being nowhere near the best that year, and fans were letting it be known just how terrible the system is. The people part of the NASCAR industry was so infuriating to listen to because they kept saying, this is the system, deal with it. Yes, we know what the system is. Most of the fan base is clearly voicing their displeasure about it and want to see change. Instead of sitting there calling us crybabies and trying to make up shit talking about the playoffs are responsible for the sport's growth, you should either A, stay silent about it, or B, at least hear the fan base out and think to yourself, maybe they got a point. Maybe NASCAR should do something about this for the good of the sport. It looks so childish when you got people like Cal Petty replying to a fan saying shit like, you just mad because you don't have a championship and Joey Logano does. Huh? Whoa, you really got him with that comment. See what I'm talking about? Saying shit like that, especially to a random fan, doesn't make you look right. You don't have a championship either, and you actually raced in the Cup Series for over 20 years. And I'm usually not the type of person to make fun of Cal Petty like everyone else. I actually think he's a better driver than what his results show. But he wasn't cooking with that tweet. These people just tell us to shut up and accept what we got or quit watching. And man, y'all don't have to keep saying that because when you look at the ratings and grandstands that's been torn down over the years, people are doing just that. I would like to think that if you have a job at NASCAR, you will show more concern than the fans, but it's the opposite. Social media is where we go to make our voices be heard, and many fans let NASCAR know that this playoff format ain't the way to go. But according to Mike Ford, who works for NASCAR Communications, apparently all of these people complaining on social media aren't real people. We're just bots. Yes, what a logical thing to say to a fan base that's been rapidly shrinking over the past decade. Good idea. Gotta protect the playoffs at all costs and make it seem like it's wanted even though it's really not. So let's go ahead and make it seem like that most of the people complaining about it on social media are bots. Fucking pathetic. These people live in their own bubble, I swear. It's not just social media where you're seeing these people go full on defense mode when it comes to NASCAR, but also on podcasts and TV shows, which brings me to Dave Moody. Listen, I do want to give Dave his flowers. He does a masterful job at announcing. I don't think anybody will deny that. He's a legend and will be in the Hall of Fame one day for it. He's one of the many legendary voices in NASCAR. That's the good with Dave Moody. But man, when it comes to listening to him take calls from race fans on his radio show, it's infuriating to listen to. Now, I will say this, it's some dumbass motherfuckers that be calling in on his show just saying some of the most outlandish shit ever. So yeah, I would have to imagine that sucks having to put up with that on a frequent basis. But there's people that call into the show that will make good points about something regarding NASCAR. The caller could come off critical but fair with their criticism. And let's be real, NASCAR usually deserves the criticism because they do a lot of stupid shit. But Dave usually cuts these people off and comes off very brash. He's the I'm right, you're wrong type of guy. Even if you've done your research and have the facts sitting in front of you while you sitting there talking with the guy. But he won't admit he's wrong and then hangs up on you, which is why it's a waste of time calling into his show to begin with. He literally reminds me of the father off of the movie Matilda.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay man, so you get callers that's critical of NASCAR. It's not a bad thing, it just shows that they're passionate. You don't have to sit there and go all pro NASCAR. He's one of those people where it's damn near impossible to have a discussion with if you criticize the sport. This is also how he comes across on social media. I wonder how many people this dude has blocked on Twitter, because I don't know how many times I've seen fans mention, yeah, Dave Moody blocked me, and this is just people trying to have a reasonable conversation with the guy. He ain't trying to hear from you even if you bring valid points to the table. The crazy thing about Dave Moody is that he isn't the king of glazing NASCAR. That crown easily belongs to Michael Waltrip. Listen, race car Michael Waltrip I was a fan of. Super charismatic in every interview and they came off genuine, fun to watch on the super speedways, but I am not the biggest fan of TV Michael. The only driver that supported the playoffs when they first came about, the guy that would say, gosh, the caution clock is a great addition. Gosh, the 550 horsepower puts on the best racing. Gosh, everything is just great about NASCAR and they could do no wrong. Okay, Mikey, does he have a shrine of Steve O'Donnell and Steve Phelps at his crib? Because Jesus Christ, this is all we hear from Michael Waltrip every time he appears on TV. It doesn't help that he works for a network that can give two shits about putting on a quality broadcast, so we gotta listen to him glaze NASCAR while also dealing with all of the problems Fox brings to the table and never wants to address, even though it's been well documented by everyone, not just fans but even a few people in the industry. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but according to Denny Hamlin, Michael Waltrip plays a character when he's in the booth, so basically a NASCAR cheerleader, because that's exactly how he comes off. Notice that the people I mentioned up to this point are employed by NASCAR, and like I said earlier, I'm pretty positive that they're paid by them, which once again isn't a legit excuse to kiss ass, but they themselves could argue that's the reason they do it. Kenny Wallace meanwhile is on the YouTube side of things nowadays, and I don't know what to think of Kenny at times. I mean, I appreciate him playing a role in getting me and many race fans excited when he was on NASCAR race day back in the day, but he's gotten to the point where he's this old man giving his takes on things and they usually kind of come off pointless. I remember he made a video after Austin Dillon committed murder on Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, and he tried to compare it to something Dale Earnhardt Sr. would have done, which is not true. Yeah, Dale was physical on the track at times, but he never did anything egregious like that. I mean, shit, people didn't appreciate him dumping Terry Labonte at Bristol. He was booed that night, not praised. But anyways, he proceeded to say that Austin Dillon did what he had to do. Yeah, because of the dumbass playoff format that makes drivers do stupid shit like what Austin did. He says the same thing everyone else in the industry says about how drivers have to do stuff like that because of the format. And yeah, fans say it too, but at least fans will stop and acknowledge that maybe there's some problems here instead of putting the blinders on. Why can't you use your platform to call out the playoffs being a big reason for this act happening to begin with, instead of trying to make excuses for Austin? Because that's pretty much what he was doing. Kenny is just another guy that would tell fans to quit complaining even if it's valid criticism because, I don't know, we care about the sport we tune into every week. I found this tweet where he tells the fans, oh, you don't like commercials? Go to the racetrack. Yeah, Kenny, like the average NASCAR fan can afford to attend every race. Hell, it's people that struggle to attend one race throughout the year. Instead of saying that, you could have been critical towards Fox and say, I don't know, the people watching the race at home deserve better. There's too many damn commercials and it's difficult to stay invested in the race because of that. Instead, we get called keyboard warriors like what Mike Joy was saying to us a few years ago. I respect the hell out of Mike Joy, but don't call us that because we want better from y'all. I don't know if it's like this in other sports where it's media personalities that go in full defense mode for the sport. I truly don't know because I only watch motorsports and baseball, and when it comes to that sport, I only keep up with my Chicago Cubs. I don't watch MLB Network. I don't know if people on there kiss ass to whatever the hell Major League Baseball does. I just know in NASCAR, it's gotten so bad and it feels like a lot of the NASCAR media come off like this. You got some that come off real nowadays like Jeff Gluck, Matt Weaver, Dale Jarrett, and Jamie McMurray, just to name a few, but There's more people that will shield for NASCAR like their life depends on it, and it's irritating. It's exactly why I stopped watching shows like NASCAR Race Hub and stayed away from certain NASCAR podcasts, because these people aren't truly opinionated. It's not authentic. There's no way that you can sit there and say that everything NASCAR is doing is great. Even the biggest fans that adore this sport has some type of criticism at the end of the day. I get it. NASCAR doesn't want these guys to talk bad about their sport, but I feel like you can't have these guys by the strings like they're puppets. Giving NASCAR the benefit of the doubt more often than others, I can probably understand why they would do that, because, well, they work for them. But I feel like from time to time they should speak out. These people don't have to slam the sport, but if it's fair criticism they're given, then they should be allowed to express it without NASCAR frowning upon that. But once again, there's people in the same position as them that do just that. So they can definitely come off opinionated instead of being a NASCAR homer. And I want to just say this before I wrap this up. The people I shine the spotlight on in this video, I don't hate them. I don't think I came off completely disrespectful. I even gave these guys their flowers when it comes to their professions. This is just criticism. While I was working on this video, I posted a thumbnail to my social pages like how I always do for an upcoming video, and Mamba Smith got a hold of it and simply asked, what's my end goal with this? And also asked, do I want to work in the industry? Look, man, I'm just a big NASCAR fan that has a YouTube channel with a small following, giving my opinion on what I notice in the world of NASCAR, whether it's on or off the racetrack. That's simply it. When I notice things, I call it out. I speak my mind. And what me and other people have noticed is that there's certain people in the NASCAR industry that are NASCAR Shills. And it's obvious. And it would be nice if these people wouldn't come off like that. So what's y'all thoughts about this topic? Have y'all realized this about some of the people in the NASCAR industry? Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and roll up out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.